Hey there, everybody. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. If you're with me usually, I so appreciate you. Interesting. It's going to be an interesting, always an interesting day in the realm of politics, right? But we understand that after that butt whipping that Keg's breath Hegseth took yesterday from John Ossoff out of Georgia, right? I'm telling you, Ossoff has been on it, and he was in top form yesterday. But so in the wake of that, today, who is taking off to land in Georgia for some big tada on affordability? None other than Trump going to John Ossoff's backyard today. That's going to be really really entertaining, but also extremely shameful because apparently part of his Trump's pitch on affordability today is going to be on this Trump accounts thing that, oh, I said the name, spray. This that I've already read on it, as have other readers. Like, come on, at this point, are you really going to invest money into anything that has his name on it and think that at 18 years old your child is really going to be able to capitalize off of that? Really? All right. But also, I want to look at today. I understand many of you may have heard as well. So right before the elections in October, you got many of you call him Keystone Cash, right? Cash Patel going to Russia? Huh? Is this because we know we're watching all of this happen in real time? Every single thing that can possibly be done to contest the midterms, right? To throw everything into chaos and to, throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at what is going to be the turnover in elections, right? We know the voices of the people are going to be heard, all right? Why would you send Kash Patel, who we also understand, when I was doing a little research on it, we also understand, I had forgotten this, Patel was really involved back in 2016, even when the whole Russiagate thing blew up around interference in the 2016 elections, that Russia was instrumental in trying to make sure that Trump won that election, right? So, and there's also been some disclosure around Patel getting some money. I saw something around $25,000 to produce or co-produce some sort of film in the Kremlin. Don't know what that film was, but the bottom line is there are some interesting ties out there that that Patel apparently has to Russia, at least in terms of how he has presented Russia's relationship to the U.S. He was a big, no way did they interfere back in 2016. But is he going over there? Is Trump sending Patel over there to talk to Putin or whomever his folks are, to set something up, some form of interference or a claim thereof around Democrats for the midterms? The timing is just not accidental, right? I know, I feel it in my gut, and probably you do as well. The timing of that is just not accidental. Why Kash Patel to Russia in the weeks leading up to the midterms? What's going on there, Spirit? What's the real deal? So we have the King of Pentacles. I think that's Patel. Why is Patel going to Russia, Spirit? Why is Kash Patel being sent to Russia right before the elections? What's the objective? Because they're not saying what the trip is for. So far, they have not disclosed what the trip is for. The Five of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles, all pentacles. So Six of Pentacles is a card of negotiation. There's a deal being worked out. Ace of Pentacles, there's got to be some financial incentives there. It's coming, pentacles, too many pentacles are coming up here. Now, we do know that there's been some talk around, of course, sanctions against Russia, from waffling back and forth on enforcing more sanctions against Russia in relation to the Ukraine war. So there's something there. This is monetary in some way. Five of Pentacles feels like Trump is sending cash over there to Russia to make some sort of deal that makes economic sense to Russia. Six of Pentacles, give and take, right? Some sort of deal. Ace of Pentacles is some sort of new aspect to that. If you do this, because we know you're hurting. Five of Pentacles, we know that you're hurting. So is this an offer somehow easing sanctions in return for help from Russia around to manipulate the elections? The Ten of Wands. The Eight of Wands, we need you to move on our behalf because we know Ten of Wands is being overburdened, like definitely overburdened. And right now, Putin he's, for all of the bluster, he is under tremendous strain. Some have even said he's gone into hiding because, Russia been getting whumped. They're still fighting, but they've been getting whumped. The stories that we've been hearing in recent months about his own intelligence, his own military, the rate at which they are being, unalived. He's in big trouble, definitely overwhelmed. Ten of Wands. Eight of Wands is wanting to move quickly. Patel is going to want him, asking him to move quickly in making a deal. The Lovers. Is this making a deal to impact the elections? That's what I'm trying to get clear on, Spirit. Is this fundamentally, is this trip about influencing the midterms? The Ten of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, the Five of Cups, the Six of Swords, and the King of Swords. This is more than the elections, you all. I still feel that in there, but I'm not getting a strong enough, like, bing, that's what it's really all about. All right. Queen of Pentacles. This is somebody behind Patel, coaching him on what to do when he's there, how he's supposed to act, when, what his platform is once he gets there. But the Ten of Swords is this tremendous fear, and Five of Cups, it's this tremendous fear. I think this is Frump. King of Swords, I always see Frump in two ways. I either see him as emperor when he's, trying to be presidential, but also he's a Gemini, and I see him more as a human, if you will, as the King of Swords. So I think this is, oh, I get it. Thank you, Spirit. Sometimes I have to work at it. You know what? This is, Trump is sending Patel over there to try and pull a rabbit out of a hat. Literally try and pull a rabbit out of a hat, because he's that worried about what's going to happen in the wake of the election, right? He knows he's going to be disappointed that despite his bluster and his delusions about being the most popular person who ever lived, that the elections are going to go, exactly counter to that. So he's sending Patel there to try and pull a rabbit out of a hat. If we don't push sanctions, are you willing to do a little something for us that will be just enough for us to hang our hat on and go, aha, Russia's pulled a fast one in our election, so we can't trust it. And their strength. Finally, thank you for confirming that, Spirit. That's the deal. But it's not going to go over well, because the struggle that I'm seeing here is, and the Five of Swords just came out as well. Russia doesn't want to do it. Russia doesn't stand to gain enough at this point to do it. And Putin is diminished. The Russia in 2016 is not the Russia right now in 2026. For almost 4 years into a war with Ukraine, right? So that's the deal, you all. And the emperor, this is Putin. Diminished spirit. Is that what you're showing me? Diminished. He's going to be like 9 of wands. Overwhelmed again. Remember, we had that 10 of wands a moment ago. So this is Putin. He's like, I've got my own troubles over here. I don't even have the wherewithal, the desire even at this point to help you all handle your elections in the U.S. because I'm trying to deal with keeping my situation together over here. So that's what's happening, you all. The bottom line is Trump is sending Patel over there on a wing and a prayer. Like, dude, can you tell us what if we ease up on you economically? We know you're hurting and you're overburdened and your folks are about to turn on you. If we do what we can for you, can you do us a solid somehow, some way in our elections? But I don't think even if Putin is interested, why wouldn't he be? I don't think he has it. I don't think he has the support, the time, the resources, or really the burning desire right now. He's in survival mode, similar to the way that Netanyahu and Trump are. That trinity right there is a really interesting energy. Talk about dark energy. That trinity is a really interesting energy. So bottom line, I don't think that Kash is going to get what he's being sent over there to do. I don't think he's going to get the deal at all. All right. Second thing I wanted to look at today is Marco Rubio has come out and said in recent days and told U.S. diplomats throughout the Middle East and in Europe to tamper down on this notion of what's called a kill switch. There's apparently on July 10th, Trump, despite being advised from the commerce folk, don't do this. This is going to compromise U.S. national security. AI technology being sold internationally, in particular to the UAE, Dubai, etc., parts of the UAE. Why? The challenge there is, as you sell this AI technology, NVIDIA chips, etc., the deal that Trump apparently struck with the UAE is in exchange for a $1 trillion investment in the U.S. Is any of this in writing? Did they put a deposit down? I kind of sort of doubt it. But the deal is, what we're being told, according to reports, is, and I just so you know, I try to really cross-reference a lot of things, both internationally and domestically. I do the BBC, I do the Independent out of the UK. I do look at Politico. I look at Wall Street Journal. Don't subscribe, but I try to find, I just try to cross-reference until I feel like what I'm seeing is real, just so you all know when I say reports. But so UAE, according July 10th, Trump said, okay, we're cool with giving the UAE all of this technology, AI technology, so they, superconductors, because in exchange we're going to get a $1 trillion investment in the U.S. over 10 years. Talk, right? But meanwhile, we find out that this has been the sale of U.S. technology to foreign interests has been going on since last year after he took office. Like with everything else going on, we're hearing about the proliferation of AI and certainly around the issues around data centers and the challenges and risks, environmental and health and otherwise here in the U.S. But the sale of this technology, which could possibly be then land in the hands of, adversaries like China, because come to find out, who is the principal primary trading partner of the UAE, who he just struck this deal with to give this technology or sell this technology? China. China is the primary leading trading partner, strategic partner in banking. I wrote it down because it was like 90 partners in energy, AI, banking, and infrastructure. China and the UAE. And Trump sitting there saying, send it to them. Now, what's interesting about that second part, and then I'm going to pull Rubio. I started out with this. Rubio is now saying, because there's some skepticism out there, there's apparently something called a kill switch, where in part of their deal making to get people on board with selling this technology internationally was to say, well, in case of a catastrophe, in case that something goes terribly wrong, there's a kill switch where on the US side of things they could down the data centers and basically shut down that technology to whoever has it, right? But as a result of that, these places around the world are going, well, then why do we want to buy it if we think that, on some arbitrary reason, you're going to jump up one day and hit this kill switch? So now Rubio is being sent out there on cleanup on aisle 6 to try and tell diplomats, shh, stop emphasizing that. Don't feed into that. We don't need that. Spirit, here's what I want to look at. Is this going to backfire spectacularly? Because they are counting on this money, you all. They're trying to run the government broke for entertainment purposes only, but we see it happening before our eyes. They are literally running the government broke in the ground. The whole headset sitting before that hearing yesterday begging for another $70 billion on top of the trillion that they already got. Where is this money coming from? They are swimming in it. They are swimming in it. Spirit, is this plan to sell basically access to U.S. technology that is a security risk? Is that going to be stopped? Knight of Swords. Right now it's in motion. Right now it's like they're scrambling for dollars. They're literally scrambling for dollars. Spirit just showed me an image of those machines, like sometimes with games they put you inside of one of those like glass machines, and then from below the dollars blow and you're just trying to grab as many as you can. Like that's the vision that they're giving me for this administration's need and scramble for money right now. Three of Swords. I thought so. You all, this is going to come back, and the Magician, this is going to come back and bite them in the butt spectacularly. They're going to get, and if they're not careful, if this hasn't already been done, they're going to get the back end of this. If they've already sent or are in the process of sending, say for instance, the UAE, this technology and these models for the promise of $1 trillion, no money actually changed hands yet. That $1 trillion ain't like where. There you have it. A lot of regret. Three of Swords coming on top of that Magician. You're trying to pull a fast one. You're trying to create essentially money out of nowhere to fund your wars and your projects and all these other things. And there's a lot of regret on the back end of that. The Page of Wands, trying to make it seem groovy and sexy, and the Seven of Cups. Who else can we get to buy into this? What other European interests? Because the sales pitch is, you don't have to start from scratch and build these AI models for yourselves. This is America. We got everything set up right here for you. It's on our shelves, ready to hand over to you at any given moment. Just give us the money. And the Seven of Cups. So that's the Seven of Cups. Like, who else can we set up for it? I don't think countries are gonna buy. And there's the Sun confirming. I don't think countries are gonna buy it. They want to protect themselves. They see the light. They see that AI is something that is not stopping. It is here to stay, and it is a matter of having successful models that they can use. But reliance on the U.S. to have those models and know that they'll stay operational, that they'll be able to do what they need to do. There's the hermit. They're still going to study. Some of these countries are still going to study their own ways to go about it, to have AI models, and perhaps even striking deals with China. Knight of Pentacles and the Tower. And the Nine of Pentacles, exactly. This is, and I'll look more at this later. We have been seeing some interesting signs astrologically and from other readers, and just in regular economic news, that the economy that's being propped up, which we know is really being propped up by AI. That's the Tower. And this is not, in the Nine of Pentacles, like the ability to grow the money out of nowhere, the ability of this administration to profit off of other nations willing to buy US technology that they don't trust, that they can't rely on, and take America, take this end of things at its word, is absolutely gonna fail. It's going to fail spectacularly. And I think, unfortunately, with that Tower, there's, I think, no, spirits that don't say unfortunately. This also contributes to the downfall of this cabinet, this administration. Because even when Trump goes, and many of you have said this, even in the comments, when Trump goes, it's not just Trump. It's a domino effect. And how that domino effect plays out, how everybody exits, how everybody is either brought to account, tries to escape to another country, go into exile, all the various scenarios that we're seeing being played out. But the bottom line is the Tower. It's going to come down. And so this latest plan to sell $1 trillion in investments in the US, where from? Because if that were the case, you wouldn't be so busy and, outfitting a jet, putting what we're hearing is already $1 billion into this Qatari jet to upfit it, to only find out now it needs to go back to the shop to get maxed out. Right? Got to keep breathing. Last thing I'm gonna close out today. For those of you who've been keeping up with the Nolan Wells case, so we know that, thank goodness, he was laid to rest, and that was heartbreaking to see that. Whole thing has been heartbreaking, but we have seen financially and otherwise, there's been a lot of momentum to help this family get to the truth of what really happened to Nolan Wells. But the latest news we heard that broke is none other than Nancy Grace, right? Nancy Grace on the case has jumped into it, and I want to ask if that is actually going to move the needle. A lot of people are like, oh, here we go. She's just kind of stunting and, like being a mouthpiece for it. But hey, Nancy Grace is known and has been known and is now being introduced, especially to a lot of younger folks who aren't hip to her. Back in the Casey Anthony days, do you all remember that? Like she get a taste for something. She's not one to back down. Her personality can be, a little, abrasive or whatever. But hey, at the end of the day, she is somebody who can rattle some cages and move things along. So I wanted to close out today. Some people have been reaching out. A few people reached out to me and said, is this going to matter or make a difference? Spirit, now that Nancy Grace has entered, has said she wants to heighten this investigation into the death of Nolan Wells, will this move the needle? Will this get to the truth, help get to the truth and the prosecution of those involved? The Two of Pentacles, the Nine of Pentacles, it's taking some time. She's going to be building, and the Hierophant. That's the case. She's building, and the High Priestess. She goes after what has not been seen, and the Three of Pentacles. She's going to work well with the Ben Crump, who's the attorney for the family. Al Sharpton, we know, has been involved, and some others. So she's she's definitely going to work with them, but the high priestess she's got a lot of information to uncover. The road is not these officials in Mississippi, these connected families of these boys in Mississippi who were out on the boat with Nolan Wells. Like, that's it. She's got a lot of work ahead of her. The Hierophant is the establishment, the governmental officials, and this the system in Mississippi that's trying to, lock horns and protect their own. That's what she knows that she's up against. So the Nine of Pentacles feels like it's building momentum, or building the case, building the evidence, working investigatively, and partnering. Two of Pentacles, again, I think that's Nancy Grace recognizing, look, I'm not coming into this to try and step on anybody's toes like Ben Crump, but I do recognize the power of my platform. So there's going to be some collaborative work that she does, but a lot for her to uncover in there. With that High Priestess, the Nine of Swords. Why is that here, Spirit? The Knight of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. There's something entrenched. Whoever is really working to protect these families, these boys that took Nolan Wells out, it's a slog. It's a slog. And the Nine of Swords, the need for information, solid information and evidence to come out. Now we hear up to Tyler Perry's gotten involved, and some others. Award money. I think it's up to $153,000. I saw now potential reward for evidence if somebody wants to come forward and it leads to something. Spirit, is that going to come into play? Seven of Cups to decide if it can be Six of Cups. Yes, somebody who was there. Somebody who was a friend of Nolan's and perhaps those boys, like they all knew each other. Seven of Cups. Who's it going to be that comes forward? And the Ace of Wands. Somebody's going to come forward. They may have to come up with a little more money. But somebody's going to come forward and supply some of this evidence. And the Empress. Yes. Yeah. It's coming out, y'all. This Nolan Wells case is not going to go away. And having somebody with the platform and the national exposure of someone like a Nancy Grace is going to be helpful. I do think, again, whether you like her or not, at this point it's about partnering, which it looks like she's going to do. Partnering, the collaborative effort to get this case to come forward, because the people working against them that's major. Like the systemic, the good old boy or good old girl network that's already, launched its little, enclave to say, how do we, or conclave, I just heard, to say, how do we protect our own? That's already well established. And there are people who are afraid. Those who have evidence are afraid. We also understand, by the time you get this tape this afternoon, I tape in the morning, I understand that that independent autopsy that they were able to have done, the family of Nolan Wells was able to have done. I think the results of that are going to be released at some point today. So keep your eyes open for that. But having Nancy involved in this is a good thing, all right? And it is going to help. It's going to take time, but she ain't one to give up, all right? And neither will the other people who are involved. And even people who are invested in having seen the truth of this come to light, all right? All right, I'll talk to you a little bit later. Chin up. All right? Always. Chin up, shoulders back. Breathe. One reason I do this, y'all, is I have to remind myself. I have to put my little check next to the box like, okay, Afefe, are you walking the talk, right? So breathe, you all, and remember the sky is always above us. Always. and what that represents: source, God, angels, ancestors, always right there, ground beneath us, holding us steady. All right, I'll talk to you all a little bit later. Be good out there. Bye.